Today we're going to be looking at the Central Vista project, including the new Parliament building. Let's begin. Welcome to Global Nationalism. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Recently, in the last week, Narendra Modi, India's Prime Minister, uh, announced the launching of the new Parliament building. It was completed and he basically inaugurated it with a prayer and with a single. And I want to talk about not just the new Parliament building, but also the project to develop the Central Vista. The Central Vista is a road in the Indian capital city of Delhi, which starts from the Rashtrapati Bhavan and continues until India Gate and the Indian War Memorial. And along this road, on both sides, there are buildings for the government. There is the buildings for the Chief Secretariat, which includes the ministries of finance and external affairs, and also other ministries. There is the original Parliament building and many other buildings. And the current government wants to refurbish this road and develop the structures in a new manner. I think that this is an important initiative taken by the government. I think it shows an India that's moving past its colonial history and developing its own institutions and its own identity. And I want to talk about its importance. So here, this is called the Central Vista Redevelopment Project. It is scheduled between 2020 and 2026. So we're halfway there. The project, as of 2020, aims to revamp a 3-kilometer long Kartavya Path between Rashtrapati Bhavan and India Gate, convert north and south blocks to publicly accessible museums by creating a new common central secretariat to house all ministries, a new parliament building near the present one with increased seating capacity for future expansion, a new residence and office for the vice president and the prime minister near the south block and north block, and convert some of the older structures into museums. The Central Vista was first designed by architects Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker when the capital of the British Raj was moved from Calcutta to Delhi. The Parliament building alone took 6 years to construct, from laying the foundation stone on 12th February 1921 to the inauguration by the Viceroy Lord Irwin on 18th January 1927. After independence in 1947, it became the seat of the government of the new republic. And originally, the road was called Rajpath, but in September last year, it was renamed as Kartavya Path. Kartavya means work and service, and which is a different name from Rajpath. Rajpath means King's Way, so Kartavya Path, meaning service way, is about how the government has to serve the people. Modi dedicated the new Parliament House to the nation, and it will be now used for the next Parliament session and henceforth. The building is intended to last for at least 150 years. It has been built at an estimated cost of 970 crores. The newly constructed four-story building covers a vast area of 64,500 square meters and will showcase an impressive collection of almost 5,000 art pieces. The location chosen for the new parliament is a triangular plot adjacent to the existing parliament house. The foundation stone for this significant structure was laid by Prime Minister Modi in December 2020. The building incorporates the elements of India and will showcase India as a rising power. This is what Chief Architect Bimal Patel said. Bimal Patel said, as many people ask me why a triangle, I say it is because many sacred geometrics celebrate triangles and trinities. The Sri Yantra uses a triangle. The Sri Yantra is a geometric figure in Hinduism. The three gods or the trinities are a triangle. So this is referencing the Hindu trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And therefore, he says the triangle is sacred. I agree. I think the triangle is a much more uh, better. And the new Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha houses, the Lok Sabha house hall in the new parliament will have a seating capacity of 888 as against 543 in the old Parliament House. The Rajya Sabha is designed to have a seating capacity of 300 as compared with 250 in the previous hall. The new Lok Sabha chamber is three times bigger than the one existing building. It will also have an additional capacity of up to 1,140 seats to host joint sessions of both houses, since there is no central hall in the new parliament. So, yeah, joint sessions are when neither house can pass a bill, and the president calls both houses to a joint session, and then they vote on the bill, and then if two-thirds majority votes for it, it passes. So in the earlier parliament, it used to happen in what was called the Central Hall. Now it will be happening in the additional capacity of the Lok Sabha. They've given Indian themes to the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The theme of the Lok Sabha is kept keeping in mind the national bird peacock, while the theme of the Rajya Sabha has been done with the lotus in mind. This is the Lok Sabha, and this is the Rajya Sabha. Secretariat that's being built. This is the second part of the Central Vista project. It is called the Central Secretariat to house the offices of all ministries in one location. As I said earlier, many of the ministries work outside the Central Vista in other parts of Delhi and in private buildings, and sometimes in private buildings. And because of this, the government has to pay rent, which is an extra cost that isn't needed. So it's better that they're all in the Central Vista, and that this also helps them to visit and meet and coordinate with each other physically. Um, them being outside causes a lot of movement in the city, contributing to traffic, and also causes a waste of time in interministerial work. So I completely agree with developing the chief secretary, central secretariat. Here there will be 10 secretariat buildings, one central conference hall center, and a national archive. These are the new structures that will be built: new Parliament House, Kartavya Path, Common Central Secretariat, Central Conference Arc Center, new Vanjia Bhavan, new residence and office for Vice President, new residence and office for Prime Minister, new facilities for IG and CA. So, and here are all the structures to be demolished, and some are going to be retained as it is, and some are going to be repurposed. The north and south blocks are going to be repurposed to become museums, and I don't know what will happen to the old Parliament building. So here you can see the current uh, Central Vista. This is the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and this goes on to the National War Memorial, and finally to the National Stadium. I think it's very well constructed. It's looks uh, it's proper and stuff, but it's too crowded. There are too many buildings here. That's not necessary. This is better. It's more less clutter, and people can find offices easier here. So, and also we can see that the Prime Minister's residence is being moved to the Central Vista, where from where it currently is in 7 Low Kalyan Marg. This is good, and this will mean that the Prime Minister can meet the President and Vice President at a faster pace. And yeah, I pretty much agree with it. So, what does all this mean? It means that India is developing its own buildings for its institutions, and it's moving on from its colonial past. That, especially since the current most government buildings in India that were built by the British have British architecture in them with a mix of Indian, but uh, this now India will be using only its architectural methods, which will allow Indian architecture to develop uh, properly and independently. And yeah, it'll also give Indians a sense of pride and a sense of identity, a stronger sense of identity. We already have one, but this will be an identity that is not diluted by foreign influence. So I think that this is all a great idea, and I'm very happy that the government is doing this. As for what should be done with the old buildings, I'm glad that North and South Block are being turned into museums. But as for the old Parliament building, I think that it should become something like not a museum, but something else. I think it should become a place where the nation's knowledge is stored, both in video form, literary form, audio form, basically a digital and written library where all the official records are placed digitally as well. And I think this will be a good way for Indians to come to the old Parliament building and see all the information that is there, all the knowledge that the country has. It can be, you can find the best Indian books by the best Indian authors there. You can find the best films. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea. But that's just my idea. I'm sure the government has its own plans, and I'm excited to see what they do. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Please share your comments for this video. And if you want to see other videos about Indian nationalism in with relation to current events, click here. If you want to see my previous video, click here. If you want to see the sources I use for this video, click the links in the description below. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.